card swipe system
Good investment.
is fixed the
We've,
delinquency issue as well as added many other features that we know that we're going to get.
We don't use the card swipe system as much because Bob's so good he knows them by name, and he can go last name and hook up and do it a lot faster. But all the rest of the components of it are still cards.
Basically, he's utilizing the system.
You code, or do you still do last name?
They do a combination.
You do a combination, yeah.
I think how fast the line is moving.
Well, I think they have that little, you just drop your card in the bucket thing too. So
Yeah, and then just scan it
pile
later, right?
How's the, so as far as the food, everything else, because I know that there was, they were struggling with trying to come up with something that was meeting what the state wanted, or.
So the federal guidelines are still, in my opinion, ridiculous. Right. But Bob does a phenomenal job, and again, I'll let him tell his story, but right now, we're looking at it, we're saying, we're in good shape. You know, we're in better shape than we have been in a number of years. Are we even? Not necessarily, but we're a whole lot closer to it, and I think with a little more work, we can probably get us back to where we need to be, which is a self-supporting system.
So I'd love to hear more about his menu selections and stuff like that too. I
Absolutely.
know 2 years ago it was great, really good, healthy meals. My daughter loved it. Most every other kid didn't. Then we went a year where it was a little chicken nuggets too often, I think. And now I think we found a good balance that they seem to really all like it.
So samples?
Samples,
You
yes,
can have
oh, yeah.
samples.
It's good.
Taste it.
Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, down to time. Gym floor, this is. Are there two of them? Two per, or just one per?
Two quotes.
Oh, two quotes.
I'll give you-
There's one.
They're all, they're stapled. Yeah,
They're all-
There's two in one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this is
You got enough? Okay, motion for the gym floor, to do the gym floor this year. Someone like to entertain that motion?
A motion to entertain information for redoing the gym floor.
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
Second by Brian. Discussion.
So we have, for the last 3 years, talked about doing the gym floor over. Last year, when we went out and solicited some quotes, we brought them back to you based upon some conversation with the public. We pulled it and we didn't do it. The gym floor has not been done for, I think we're going on 13 years. Matt went out this year and I asked him to re-solicit some quotes. You can see the quote from Bob is 2015. So Bob's Flooring, which is a New Hampshire-based company, no longer even to be contacted, is no longer doing this type of work. He contacted Danaher, and Danaher basically gave us the same quote, and they went up in the price to $19,920. What we would like to do, what the proposal would be to do, would be to take $10,000 out of each capital reserve, facility capital reserve account from each building, and do that floor over the summer. So it won't come out of the budget, won't come out of unanticipated fund balance. It would come out of our capital reserve accounts. That money's been raised. Those accounts, Kelly gave me the amounts, and they're here somewhere in my mess.
160,000.
161,000 in one and 129,000 in the other.
So my question is, why, when it's only the middle high school floor, would we be using it elementary?
Because the elementary uses that for the gym class. So it's
gym.
the Sherburne gym.
Oh,
I'm
it's
sorry,
the Sherburne,
I
okay,
should have said
but
Sherburne
not
gym.
this is not secondary high school gym.
I'm sorry.
So
It's the Sherburne gym.
okay, so next question then, are we going to look for any funds from, say, the recreation department, which runs a boot camp out of there now, or any of the other people that
We typically have not done that, and I think that's more of a community service piece where we sort of give and they give us.
It comes out of the same pocket by the end of the bill. We really, I mean, I've never seen it done, well, we have not done it in the past.
We use Veterans Field.
The only thing I do know is we've have been doing the water base, because it seems to.
So this is a complete redo. This is stripping
Down
it
the wood.
down the wood, repainting lines, we've updated our lines, they have our schematic, doing it completely over. Adding some things specifically for the phys ed classes as well that are gonna be on the floor, and then refinishing. And I know we've done water at certain times and oil at certain times.
And Bob's no longer exists.
Bob is no longer returning phone calls or is.
We had 3 quotes from 3 other vendors.
We had some
last
Massachusetts
year.
places last year.
Correct.
Matt had contacted them. His feeling, based upon conversations with them, is they're gonna come in, they're gonna third party the work, for
Sure.
what they do.
Yep.
And we're not shipping with the quality that we would be getting going with the animal.
What was the price differential with those?
They were actually a little bit, one was a little bit cheaper, one was a little bit higher. One was in the 17s and one was in
Any chance that you could leverage the 17 for them to do any sort of production, or is that?
the only issue I have with that, and again, it's your will as the board, but, so I'm reaching out to somebody on the Cape to come up and do that. And so we're not only paying for the floor, they're adding their room expenses and all those other things are added into here. And the quality of work, if something's wrong, to go back to them, and they're just gonna third party to whoever their contractor was and have to come up.
Sure.
It's there, but we're maybe 3 times removed. We're here, we're.
I don't think Clarendon is that close,
Clarendon,
Vermont.
yeah.
I mean, if you're talking about going to Boston versus going
Yeah,
to Clarendon,
sure.
it's 6 of one, half a dozen.
But I think they're a local who has done this, not
Right.
only for us, but for the majority of schools within New Hampshire. There are very few people who will mess with this full
Right.
capacity and
Because
stripping it down,
it's-
because they don't want to do the painting part of it.
Right, I understand.
Yeah.
I was hoping to see maybe at least one more quote.
And Matt's been digging on this
Bob's
for
doesn't-
2 months.
Okay.
The only thing you could do is, the people who ended up getting the bleachers from, I think he had a company that
Hussey will.
that
probably
went
give
around
you,
to, it was either them or people that follow them around.
They'll give you a third party, right, he'll put
Yeah.
in touch with a third party national vendor somewhere.
Byron's, Florida, do this sort of work?
Balance for-
Would they have any contacts with?
no. They're doing
And
much
to
more.
echo what Russ, this is a family they used to be expanded line of work, but to echo what Russ said, it's, guys like to go in there and cover it. We've had quotes in the past for that, just to cover what's there, top sand it, cover what's there. We're going down the wood and repainting, and that's the difficulty is in the expense, is repainting.
And what's the benefit?
It just has to be done every once in a while.
Just to preserve the wood.
Yeah.
Right, well, it just brings that wood back around, preserves that wood. That floor's been there since the 60s.
No, we redid that probably,
Jim.
yeah, I know, but I think we redid the wood in probably 15 years ago, I would imagine. I got on
So
the
that was
school
about the
board.
last time it
I got on the
was
school
done.
board and they redid the whole wood, everything.
Yeah, it was one of the vestibule ones.
Yep.
Do we need to go down? I mean, let me rephrase the question. Do we need to make changes in our painting? And is that the reason why we're going down?
It's good practice to go down and get it off, to get the 15 years of coating off that and go down to the wood, and that's a recommendation. And we do have some upgrades to do to the paintings.
And we were going to do it, we just really decided to pull back budgetary purpose-wise. So.
Yeah, we were looking at $12,000, $13,000 a couple of years back.
Yeah.
We're 17, 18, 19.
And they were gonna do the same.
So what are the other things that the capital reserve money may be needed for that would have to take a back burner if we did this?
Right now, again, we don't specifically label anything for our capital reserve money, it's for that unanticipated
100%
cost.
reserve.
Given that we didn't budget for this and this has been on the back burner, that's why I'm bringing it forward to be used as a capital reserve. So,
We can go out tomorrow, right?
absolutely.
Everything else seems in good working order, you don't have anything else like this on the back burner?
Right, so we allowed capital money, 7,000 for the sewage issue a couple months ago. No, I don't see, but I don't really anticipate it.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? All those in favor? No?
It should-
What are we voting on again?
it should-
Because if we just look at the quotes.
$20,000.
So approve,
Wow.
so approve
So the motion is to take
Re-
20,000 out of.
Refinishing of the gym floor.
Yep.
Taking 10,000 from each capital
account.
improvement facility account. Taking $10,000 from each capital improvement facility account.
Okay. I wasn't sure that was the motion we started with.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I wasn't sure either.
So should we start with that motion?
Yes.
I make a motion that we take 10,000 out of each capital reserve account to finish the floors in Sherburne Gym this summer.
Okay, motion made by Brian.
What kind of a downtime are you looking at?
So they are booked up. They booked up pretty quickly, so Matt, if you can get a hold of them tomorrow, will happen sometime this summer, and it's generally a week to 7 days, depending on the temperature outside.
It's always hotter in that gym.
Yeah. And then it's how quick it'll cure up. It's humidity.
Week to 7 days, did you know?
I'm sorry,
That's
my
one
week's
time.
5 days and only 7 days, so
So
5 to 7 days.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions?
One question I have in regard with large or mid-size capital improvement projects that involve preventative maintenance, is this something that is anticipated, every 15 years? Is there a preventative maintenance program in place that we could enter the gym floor and understand the depreciation value and so forth?
So absolutely, Heather, and that is in place, and again, as we talked about, this came up 2 years ago, and we put it off, and so I'm saying it's time to start putting it off, and that's why I'm bringing it to you tonight. Now, you can put it off,
No, I have no
and we
desire to.
can put it back on, but it stays in that process.
Okay, so it was the computer program that flagged the need for this to be done?
Our facilities director, Wayne, at the time, he just said this every 13 years, it's supposed to be done, 13 years, it's supposed to be done. He's like, in that ballpark place, you want to do it?
Every time, actually.
Right, and so now we're at 13 and, well, actually 15, it sounds like. So that, but we do have a project of, a list of what needs to get done, when it needs to get done. Maintenance.
And I'll learn more about this as I enter the capital improvements policy, the committee, but what is the name of that program?
So we don't run it through a
CIP.
specific,
Yeah, actually, this particular thing really hasn't been, and Sean, you may know more about this because you deal with basketball stuff a lot, but isn't it 2 coats to every taking it down 100%?
I have.
he has
No idea.
no idea.
Well, you don't.
No
You just know
No
how to throw that.
idea.
Yeah.
No.
I think, and I could be wrong, but I think it's 2 coats to sanding it down totally, and then also doing the striping if it takes the striping. That's my recollection on it from listening to a lot of the different things. Now, the oil base is different. If you do the oil base, you may be able to get by with one, but I know that we switched to the latex. Yes, because it was quicker, a little bit easier, and it was as durable because the new latex products they were starting to come alive and actually do a better job now. So I remember talking about this a number of times where it was two coats of that stuff and then take it right down. So
But
you're right on.
ultimately, we're relying on the expertise of our facilities director to say, hey, it's
It's
time.
time.
So it's not a computer program
Right,
that pops
yes.
up, a
Right.
reminder every 13
There's not
years.
we don't have like a school dude that inventories everything. We are,
Good.
with Wayne, we were savvy enough, and Wayne had real good notes and files, which passed on to Matt. And Matt is a little more tech savvy, and Matt's sort of putting those things collectively together for himself. So he can sort of run, when do the filters get done, upgrades to the oil burners, those type of processes. Sanding, you kind of, once you go through it a year or so, you understand the pattern of which things need to get done.
They would do the,
I understand coming from larger districts that there are computer programs in place where you
Absolutely.
could, dovetail into the budget, the capital budget to
Yep.
depreciate certain
Yep.
projects out and that sort of thing. We may not be at the size or, needing to have anything, especially if there are good handwritten files.
And I think Matt, given,
you could do it on a spreadsheet too.
Yeah, well,
Good,
you
yeah.
could, very,
it
that's
is
essentially
Matt's
what it is,
first
yeah.
year, and I
Okay.
think giving him the opportunity to sort of get in and get used to it and get comfortable with it. He's already looking at our control system for our heating and HVAC system, and he's saying, we need to do something about this. It's
Right.
not functioning at its capacity. And so I really would leave that to him and say, Matt, these things you're responsible for. Tell me if there's something you need to keep reminding you when to do things.
Yeah.
But he's pretty savvy like that. He has better.
So they'll do, pull the bleachers, everything out when it goes.
Yeah, so those are inventoried every year. The playgrounds are inspected
No,
every
no, no, I mean,
year.
they'd be pulling the bleachers out.
Oh, the
and
gym
just
floor.
sanding.
Yeah, yeah,
the walls.
they do.
Okay, because that's what they did the last time. They
Yeah,
did
no,
the
no, we
shooting.
do.
You're gonna find a lot of my missing softballs.
Socks and. Okay, so is everybody comfortable with the discussion?
I don't think they're pulling the bleachers out, Sean. If we read the note, the school will be responsible for power hookup and disposal of debris, sawdust, empty bags, and will clean our work area when finished. This cleanup does not include dusting of the walls, ceilings, and bleachers if needed.
Does not mean cleaning when it's done.
Right.
If I'm dusting, if I'm sanding, and dust is not gonna get on the bleachers when they're outside in the vestibule.
No, they don't, they just
They
pull them.
pull
And
them
then
out,
push them.
push them back.
So they
They're
will not
gonna
be.
take them off the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They take them off the wall on the floor, pull them,
Okay.
do underneath them,
Turn back.
push them. Yeah, they rotate them.
Okay, as long as it's done underneath it.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah, because that's going to be
Ask the question.
important is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you confirm they're not outsourcing this work as
Right,
compared to.
no, they are, they're first party vendor.
And warranty, does it say anything for warranty?
I don't know. I don't know what the warranty would be. I would imagine that it's a standing behind that article. If there's something wrong with it, they can back up and do the work that needs to get done. If it bubbled, there was imperfections in it, whatever it was. And then we had that in this gym here, and the folks will be back and take a look at it.
No more discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is information. Superintendent. I had not heard from Kathy, but I was assuming that all of us.
So she says you have them on.
Okay, I do not. You handed them in. You handed them in. Okay, so I will get with Kathy and get them then. Okay, because I did not.
And you can still.
I will do that tomorrow. Oh, yeah.
And discuss that.
Yep.
Or you can just.
No, we can do that, yeah. We'll do that tonight, actually. Okay, strategic planning update. Information.
Thank you. So I have been in touch with NESDEC. They are happy to be working alongside with us. I put a call in after our last meeting, spoke with the person who will be working with. His name is John Kennedy. John and I had a nice initial conversation, probably about a half an hour. I explained to him sort of the overview of what we're doing, why we're doing it, where this is coming from, what we're going to gain out of that. He explained to me the process. Our next step is mid-May. I will sit with Tara, Jody, myself, and Sean, and we will do a phone conversation with him, just sort of looking at the overall scope of the project. What are some of the things, how do we start to look at time? How do we look at the number of people are on board? How are we going to asking those people? He's going to give us sort of a framework. And then from there, he understands that this is work to be starting in September, so there's not an urgency right now, and he said that was absolutely the right thing to do. There's no sense taking this on now. So once we have that phone call in May, I imagine I will have some work to do as far as how we're going to get the word out to people, what that process looks like, how many people. He recommended his first initial conversation said somewhere between 12 and 15 people. I've identified our school surveys for him to look at, because typically in something like this, they do a survey to try to elicit feedback from the community. He said, I think that you probably have done that, and you can probably pull some of that information as well. I explained to him that we want to make sure that we have all our stakeholders involved, at least having a voice, maybe not at the table, but having a voice within the process. He was happy to hear that, and at some point in time, probably in September, perhaps in October, he can come here in front of the board as well, and we'll actually get him boots on the ground and start the process. So It's not, again, it's not the urgency, but we're progressing as we need to progress in the next 6 cities.
Is everybody fine? Anybody have any questions on that? Okay, manifest.
I'll make a motion that we approve manifests 2016-20, 2016-22, 2016-21, and payroll manifests 2016-20, 22, and 21.
Motion made by Paul and seconded by April. And we have any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay, we are down to public forum. Anybody in the public would like to bring anything forward? Discuss tonight on the agenda. Hi, Sharon. Okay, hearing none, we will move on to agenda items for next week. Next meeting, I mean, not next week, next meeting. We can do next week. You like to do next week, Russ?
We could.
Russ wants to do next week.
I can get it done.
Okay.
I have a couple of curriculum reviews coming in front of you. Science, yes, and life skills.
Okay.
So you'll hear from those two folks.
Well, what about the, Bob?
We're gonna put Bob off until, you don't want to eat. I'm getting that message. We're
Those
gonna
cookies are
probably, given that
just
he'll be just coming
sustaining.
off his review, I'll see where he's at, but potentially I think it'd probably be better for September, October, because then we can give you an overview of his whole year.
Okay.
Give you some numbers, where they've been, where they're at.
Okay.
We could do lunch with Bob.
That'd be nice, huh?
Well, you could have some of Bob cookies tonight, and they'll give you a little taste.
Gluten-free?
They are not.
And that's Wednesday, June 1st, correct?
Whereas Thursday's graduation, so correct. It's a tight week. It's a tight week.
June what?
First.
Wednesday.
And graduation
Might
is
be
the
a
third.
sure. Wednesday's the third, yes.
Wednesday's the first, Friday's the
Wednesday's the first, Friday's the,
Third.
correct.
Do we want to,
We gotta before.
We're all set, we're set?
do you want to push it off to the next following week?
Nope.
No?
Nope,
Everybody's
we're
good?
good.
Okay.
Good, good.
I'm good.
Nobody graduated this year, so.
There you go. No worries. And then we also have, July's the one that we usually skip, correct?
Yes, July and
July.
potentially we bump the one in August as well, I think.
We do bump one in August?
Kelly?
That's good, I won't be here first.
We do, because I'm really not here the first 2 weeks of August.
We want to do one in July?
So, well, August.
We usually do that. So we don't do July and then we do it later in August. That's what we typically do.
Before we start school.
So when is that date, just so?
The date of the proposed August meeting?
Yeah,
Is that what
I'm
you'd
trying,
like?
trying to nail you down now because,
All right, let me see if I can give you a date.
Brian's.
We could say somewhere between how about the 24th?
when is school
The
start?
22nd is that first week. So it'll be that week that the teachers start.
I think we typically would do the 17th.
You want to go the one before or the one after?
I'm just thinking typically we have the meeting shortly before we.
Before school, actually.
You know, usually the teachers are just starting to come into that meeting.
The 24th would be the one where we're all back. 17th is the week before.
Actually, it could be the 17th or the 24th.
And we,
What's the 24th?
and we do want to go all the way to the 10th? Yeah, later.
Yes.
So do we want to do a July or?
July now,
Okay.
August 24th.
August 24th.
So you want to do the 24th and not the 17th?
That works.
August
We're-
17th is preferable for me, I got a kid here.
August 24th. Then we're also going to do a
I'm
September.
flexible. You tell
And
me.
then we're gonna be, 2 weeks later, we're gonna have another meeting.
Which is fine, because school will be starting, so it's probably not from there.
Right, you're going back out at the 7th. Or you go 17th, I don't care.
How about,
No.
how about end of July?
No, that would be kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, July is really long.
All right, we have conflicts. We have conflicts.
No, I'm good. It's-
Okay.
If you bump the June one, I'm not here, but That's the
Right
time.
around that. So 17th, does that work better, or the 24th, or people don't really care, and
I like
No, we'll
17.
go fine.
17 to 24.
Alright,
I vote 17.
we'll put something out and let you know, so keep them both open.
We'll Skype Craig.
We can do that, we have a policy.
We do a policy, so, okay.
You know, we need-
Do we need to have any further discussion on our surveys? Are we complete with our surveys and discussion and such?
I believe so, yes. I think you've looked them over as a board. Obviously, I just spoke that that they're being looked at through our strategic planning process. I know I've reviewed them, I know my building administration has reviewed them. I have a survey going out to last year's alumni that will be released, I think, next week. So last year's graduating class, going to listen to some feedback from them. And I look at that data, and that's data that I try to take. So it passes, this will only be the second year. First year, we'll have more response.
Thank you.
Do you put someone on calling them to ask them to complete the survey?
So what I do is we tell them we leave their email open. I send them out an email saying the survey's coming. I'll send them out an email saying it's coming. Notify your friends. We'll post it up on our website. I'll tweet it out. I also, at the same time, I sent an email to the current senior class saying, we're leaving your email open for a year. So at this time next year, you'll be receiving an email about a survey coming out. So we try to, hopefully through the word of mouth from kids to kids, and have that sort of communication go. The key is hopefully they remember their password, or they link it to their other email, and sometimes that happens and sometimes that
So
doesn't.
you probably know how often they actually check their emails. You could have the
Oh,
right
we
guy
do.
say,
Yeah.
all right, what percentage of the class are actually actively using their old email?
And surprisingly, a lot of them do link them.
Yeah, I never thought of it.
Because we tell them we leave it open, and that, again, I think it's kind of a customary thing, when somebody leaves here, we give them a couple weeks to leave their email open, so that they can make the transfers and catch everything that's coming through and sort of make that transition, so I think they're somewhat grateful that we do leave it open, although probably come December, like you said, they forget about it, and something like that.
Do we ask them for a new
We
email
do.
address when they?
We do.
Okay.
That's the last question is a new email address, so that the hope would be in 4 years from now,
Yeah.
to send them another survey.
I'm just thinking, the graduating class is so small,
Good kids.
we should be able to
We should be able to farm it.
call them and say, hey, oh, by the way, we see you haven't responded. Actually, call their parents. And say, oh, by the way, we see Junior hasn't responded.
And we did some of that last year through word of mouth. We had some connections and got some critical people to send emails and text to friends and, try to get some.
We can do a tracker. We can put an implant or something there.
Ankle bracelets?
Yeah. Look at our IT,
You don't want them moving back home, do you?
Okay, good, so that's it for,
And then I'm going to give you some sort of presentation on the school board. These are three things that I had. So curriculum, 2 curriculums, and a school board.
okay. Okay, I guess that's it. We're gonna go to non-public. We don't need anybody, it's just gonna be the board itself. I'll have all keep notes, because he's, say you wanted to. I'll write it down. Yes, I got it. So why don't we, there will be no, voting when we get back in regular. So, someone would like to make a motion, we will under non-public under
Motion to go to non-public under,
Doing
A, it'll be A, Roman A. Okay, motion by Brian, second by April, and we take a roll call vote. Heather? Yes.
Brian, yes.
Brian, yes. April?
Yes.
Paul? Yes. Sean, yes. Okay. We are in.
We're good, right?
It is, thanks.
Thank you.
Use restroom?
You got it. We'll take a recess right now.
I'm just giving you this policy. You had an email earlier this week. Somebody referenced something in an email I wanted to.
What?
Oh, yes, thank you.
Oh, fell into you.
I said, wow.
No, not yet.
I gotta do the